Hiya, Honest Discussioner here. So two of my, the people that I'm subscribed to, Agnostic Man 77 and Coughlin 666, otherwise known as Richard the Dick Coughlin 666, have responded to Veritas 48, I think. Or should I just call you Truth 48, because I'm pretty sure that's what what Veritas means. Now, his video is Why I'm Not an Atheist, and he also just posted Why I'm Not an Atheist, the sequel. Now, be assured, Veritas, that I'm not going to degenerate into ad hominems and screaming matches of any sort, so I do hope that you post this video. He claimed that he doesn't, he had to get rid of a bunch of them or decline them because they were filled with ad hominems and the like. Won't find that here. I'm just going to tell you why you're wrong. That's okay with you. Now, I'm going to just kind of let him speak for himself. So, watch this clip.
I want to give a full account, or at least a fuller account, as to why I am not an atheist. And I am a Christian for specific reasons, many of which I've laid out in previous videos. But apart from the positive arguments for Christianity, I think there are many reasons to think that atheism is false.
So, now, this is where you went off track, and I know you've heard this before, but I think I'm going to put this a little bit of a different way. That part where you said, aside from the positive arguments for Christianity, that's what the video kind of should have been about. And he doesn't really talk about that. Basically, he talks about why he isn't an atheist. The reason you're not an atheist, Veritas, is because you think the arguments for Christianity are good, not because the arguments for atheism are bad or unconvincing. If you take the cosmological argument does not state atheism is wrong. It states there has to be a God, and I think it incorrectly states so, and I don't really go along with that argument, and I've got my own refutations to that, which maybe I can go over at a later date. But that's the reason why you're not an atheist is because you're a Christian. That's what you kind of should have been talking about. That's technically, I haven't seen all of your videos. Actually, I've only seen these two. I'm guessing that's what your videos are about. All of your videos are about why you are not an atheist for the most part. Whenever you're talking about why you believe in Christianity, that is why you are not an atheist. So you kind of get off the topic of the video kind of right off the bat. This is where Agnostic Man 77, I'll just call him Agman, kind of got very frustrated because your entire video is basically saying that you are not convinced of atheism. And he made that point over and over again, and it was kind of necessary because you kept saying that over and over again. And really, the whole thing is not that you're convinced of atheism, it's that you're just not convinced of theism, or at least if you were to be an atheist, it would be because you're not convinced of theism. There really isn't any arguments for atheism. There are only arguments against theism and showing why it is untenable, why it's a paradox. If you watch my philosophical proofs, which I am going to continually plug in every single video, I think. Sorry. That's basically not saying there is no God and I can prove it. It's saying that what Christianity and pretty much every other holy book says it is not true. So that's why virtually your whole thing is just one large shifting of the burden onto atheism. That seems to be what the whole purpose of your video was. Now, if you wanted to talk about why you're not an atheist, you should do what you normally do and just talk about why you believe in Christianity, because that's the only reason why you wouldn't be an atheist. At least if you're going to be honest with yourself. And that's leading into the points that you're trying to make in your second video, which is really what I'm responding to. But I do want to make one point with, what the heck is up with this?
And I have a lot of reasons for not holding to the idea that there is no God, and I have even greater aversion to the idea of lacking theistic belief.
Really? Don't you have that reversed there, Veritas? That's kind of like saying, well, you know what, I have reasons for, not wanting pneumonia. I have an even greater aversion to the idea of catching a cold, though. It's possible that your theistic beliefs are wrong, and so are atheists. In that there actually is a God. That's a possibility. It's not possible that that theistic beliefs are correct, but there's no God. That doesn't work. Maybe what you meant to say is that you have many reasons for holding your theistic beliefs, and you have an even greater aversion to the idea that there is no God. That makes a little bit more sense. Was that what you're trying to say? I think so, because the other one just really doesn't make sense. Now, basically the rest of this video was just nothing but shifting the burden of proof and stating that atheists can't prove atheism. Okay, so now let's talk about the real meat and potatoes of what I wanted to discuss, and that was your second video, Why I'm Not an Atheist, the sequel. Now, let's kind of just get to your main point here, or at least what you said the point of your last video was.
My point was that I genuinely cannot see how on a naturalistic, atheistic view of the world, in which, we as humans simply are accidental consequences of socio-biological evolution, functioning in a totally mindless universe, all destined for non-existence, how there could really be any room for meaning in life.
Okay, now, Veritas, here's where you went wrong. That does not speak to why you're not an atheist, or why anyone is not an atheist. What an appropriate title would have been is why I wouldn't want atheism to be correct. Now, remember, wanting something does not make it any more or less true. I think we can agree that. I can want there to be a cheese sandwich in front of me, but the wanting itself does not produce cheese sandwich. So you might say that if atheism is correct, now I'm not agreeing with you on this point, especially at least not yet, but what you're saying is if atheism is true, then you don't see any room for there being a meaning to life. Now, that does not mean that there has to be a meaning in life. That does not show that atheism is not correct. Doesn't show that it is correct. All it's stating that if it was correct, you wouldn't like it. You wouldn't be happy with it. You would be upset and disappointed if that was what reality is. It doesn't speak to whether or not you should or should not believe in it. And by believing in it, I mean just not believing in theism or even deism. This is kind of why your entire video is, as far as trying to give a reason why you would not adhere to the position that atheists adhere to. Basically, your whole argument is nothing but an appeal to emotion. If theism is not true, if deism is not true, if we are simply just a product of random evolution, then we have no meaning in life. And you don't want that, do you? Don't you want meaning? Wouldn't it be better if there was meaning? That's a fallacious argument, because maybe existence just really does suck that way. I'm not saying that I'm not giving it proof that it does, that that's the way things are, but that could be the way things are. A good analogy for this would be, well, do you believe that that our government is corrupt? Do you believe that there is corruption within our government? Now, if you say yes, I can't adhere to that belief, because simply if there's corruption in government, that means there's no room to trust our government. How can we believe that? When you put it that way, it seems kind of silly, doesn't it? There actually is corruption in government. It's been shown numerous times. President Bush. Excuse me. Winter time. I got a cold.